Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Of sellers to contracts.
And disposition. Squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 160. I don't care if you've never done a deal before or you have done 1,000 deals. There's going to be something in the next 90 minutes that you can take and implement into your business this week. I'm Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People. Next to, and it's been a couple weeks, we've missed him, Mr. Pace Morby.
Bro, look at this live studio audience. We have a whole guys. If you want to come hang out with us at the Wholesale Hotline live studio, is this pretty cool, guys?
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Amazing. So really appreciate you guys. Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Thank you, Matt. Matt's just switching it up. I freaking love it. So thank you for having me back. We also have the one and only Daniel.
There you go.
Quijano.
Thank you.
Daniel Quijano. He doesn't want to be called Dan the Man. He wants to be called Daniel Quijano.
Think Bible, not Roseanne. That's
Got
what
it.
I'm saying. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But you're way more similar to like the Roseanne
Yeah.
Dan.
Is that like a fat reference?
Well, you're from Albuquerque, bro.
Okay. That's fair.
I've been trying to get him from Albuquerque to Phoenix.
Yes. This entire afternoon.
This entire afternoon.
Yeah.
If you were going to move to Phoenix, where would you move?
If I were to move into Phoenix, I love Central Phoenix. I mean, anything but Mesa. Anything but Mesa. Do not move to Mesa.
Okay.
If you want to go somewhere where your soul is crushed in a vice, you move to Mesa, Arizona.
To Mesa. Okay.
It's brown.
Yep.
It's dull. There's scorpions.
Interesting.
You guys don't have scorpions in Central
No
Phoenix?
scorpions.
Bull crap.
None. We are scorpion free.
There's no possible
since
way.
1947.
He lives in he lives in such a cool place, Central Phoenix. Lots of tree-lined streets. You've got an older historic home.
Yep.
And you have a basement.
Yeah.
Which is very rare in Arizona.
That's right.
That's how you're a rare breed, brother.
Well, we both have basements.
We do have basements.
Your basement can fit my whole house in it.
Sure. But that's what you get when you go to Mesa. You get more for your money.
That's true.
So if you're willing to drive 45 minutes, or whatever it is.
Well, the Scorpions deserve their own bedrooms.
Oh, yeah.
So,
they find them.
Yeah, so he took us to Arcadia today, which was nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very
Marcellus Wallace says, where's the hood of Phoenix? What would you say there's top 3 neighborhoods that are the hood?
Maryville.
Maryville.
South Phoenix.
South Phoenix.
Yep.
One more. It's kind of like central.
I mean, Guadalupe is pretty rough.
Oh, Guadalupe. That's a third dimension, though. That doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like not even. I think it's an unincorporated. It's not even part of the state.
Oh, I know.
You
Seriously?
drive in there. Oh, bro.
They're like emancipated themselves? Or?
It's like a weird island. Yeah.
It's
super
indescribable.
weird. Yeah.
It's only like 2 miles by 2 miles. LT's shaking her head. It's indescribable. You're driving. You're right by IKEA. Really nice area. You drive 1 mile north, and you're like, where the freak am I? And then you drive through the other side, and you're like, whoa, what city did I just go through? It is the weirdest.
There's no laws.
Yeah.
There's no street. There's no street signs. It's wild.
Mrs. Monk
Anyway.
Coleman says, I'm new to Phoenix. How can I be in the Wholesale Hotline audience? How did you guys all get in here today?
They're pointing at me.
Everybody's came for Quijano's boot camp.
I think so.
Over to my house, and then we just invited everybody. How did everybody get in here last week? Were they TTP students or Astro students?
TTP and Astro, yep.
Okay, so if
Yep,
you're a
we got some here.
TTP, Astro, or Sub-2 student, then hit up Melissa if you're in Sub-2. Hit up, who should they hit up if they're in TTP?
Me. They got my number.
Brent, that is very true.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I made it to the live. Yes, you guys did. What are we going to be talking about today? Do you got any magical quotes?
I love it. Yes, 2 things.
Okay.
Okay? Conversations and offers. conversations and offers. That's what we're talking, right?
Yep.
We're talking scripts. We're talking about conversion of distressed property owners from the very first time that you have a conversation to them to actually submitting an offer on those deals, and what kind of offer that you can what is the structure of your offer? Is it a cash offer? Is it a creative offer? Is it something that maybe it's just an offer to refer them to an agent? You know what I'm saying? I think those are the three main buckets that we should probably hit on today, because listen, guys, you could wholesale any deal, right? You can wholesale a deal that is locked up as a SUBTO.
Yeah.
I've wholesaled a lot of those.
Kevin's
creative
doing
deals.
one right now. Where's Kevin? There's Kevin right there in the audience. Kevin sold me 2 deals today, actually, right? Waco? Are you trying to backpedal on me on that? Okay, one in Waco, one in Mesa, and the one in Mesa today. You're not under contract with her, right? No, not yet. So I just drive over there today with Quijano, and I pulled the lady's house, and I called Kevin. I go, hey, give me her phone number. I want to shake her hand. He's like, okay. So I call her up. Anyway, she's coming over to the office tomorrow.
Nice.
It's an interesting offer. You want to hear the offer?
I've heard, but this is bananas.
Very interesting. Cool. So the seller is...
This is one of those only Pace will do this deal.
Exactly.
For real.
Exactly. So she is, her name is Ann, and is it Anna or Ann? Anna. So her name's Anna. She's 1 month behind on her payments. Cute little house in Mesa, right by the Mormon temple. You know, that area is super valuable for...
Yeah, it's popping off. People
popping
love
off.
it there.
Yeah.
Real high energy.
High energy. And it is a great area. And she'll walk away from the house, SUBTO. She just goes, I need a job for 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay, great. At what amount? $2,700. So for $2,700, 3 months in a row, she'll actually come and do work. And we give her a job offer so she can go and rent a building. She'll move out of the house and say, here's the keys to my house. What's the interest rate on the house?
I don't know. It's like high 4, low 5.
Okay, so she is a winning house 1 mile down the road. I own 2 houses next to each other. They're netting me $10,500 a month on Airbnb. That house will probably make me a good $3,000 or $4,000 a month on Airbnb.
Crazy.
It's a crazy area.
Yeah.
So you're wholesaling that deal to me. You're wholesaling a deal to me in Waco. I have a challenge with Kevin. I said, you have to sell me 25 deals in Arizona.
Nice.
And 12 deals in Las Vegas. And now I've decided he has to sell me 12 deals in Texas. So he has to sell me 50 deals.
Better get to work.
He's been doing well. Just this year, you've probably sold me now 6 or 7 deals.
I think 5.
5 deals. Okay, well, you better
5
step on it,
deals
bro.
in 8 weeks.
Think about this. What you did in the first part of this year, you just have to do 10 more times. Actually, 9 more times. You're good. 50 deals. This man will easily make on just creative finance wholesaling, creative finance deals. You'll probably net $500,000 to $700,000 this year just with me as one buyer.
I'm on track.
He's on track right now.
What are you going to do with the money?
Ooh, gosh, that's such a good question.
What did he say?
He said,
He's going to lend it to Pace.
"You're going to buy your own house."
My own stuff too.
I mean, you don't need $500,000 to $700,000 to do that, brother.
I'll buy sub 2s for me too.
Okay, great. You'll start picking up some properties yourself.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
you're
so
gonna-
dedicated, he won't even sell me a house.
I know.
I asked him to. He said no.
I told him I was going to help him build his YouTube channel, and his the other thing he's required to do is hit 20,000 subscribers before the end of the year.
I love it.
I think he's going to have a hard time with that because he's not posting yet.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Anyway, so offers and conversations.
Yeah. Conversations and offers. It all starts there, right? It doesn't matter if you're doing marketing, that's when they're calling you, or you're getting a referral, right? That's another that you start building up a reputation where people know you're looking for these opportunities, or you go out and prospect and you initiate those conversations. At some point you got to have a conversation. Even if
So
it's a text conversation.
You simplify
but for
this.
the most
You
part.
simplify this a lot, where you
Yeah.
talk about how there's really only 3 ways to get leads.
That's right.
What are those 3 ways to get
Yeah,
leads?
you can buy them, you can wait for them, or you can earn them. That's it. You can buy them through marketing. You can wait for them through referrals, or you can go out and earn them. You can knock doors, or you can pick up the phone.
It's a really interesting way to break that down. Earning them is picking up the phone. Buying them would buying them be texting, or is that earning?
Yeah, well,
Depending.
it kind of falls into both. I feel like texting, like if you're going to be calling a lot of people, you already have the addresses, you have the phone numbers. Like you're only going to get a hold of 7 to 10% of the people you call. So if the front door's locked, go in through the window.
Right.
or throw a brick through one.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah. yeah. Not surprised. Yeah, that was awesome. So anyway, you have to go in through the window. And so I think texting is a really smart way to do it. I think that you can get some easy tools to be able to do that under $100 a month, and you can build some really good momentum.
Okay, so
But I still think it's probably, I mean, you're reaching out.
You're
so
working
it's
for
that,
them
but-
as calling.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a really great metric for people that are brand new.
Yeah.
If you're going to go out and you're going to earn your leads through calling,
Yeah.
a percentage of the calls you're going to get a hold of sellers is how many? What percent?
So you're going to get a hold of 7 to 10%
Okay.
of the people that you reach out to. And then from there, about 10%, if you're calling on distress lists, right? Ugly houses, driving for dollars, probates, inherited, foreclosures, tax default, code violations, all of these different, 90-day lates, all these different lists that we go after. Adjustable rate mortgages. That's a new one. That one's fantastic.
Expired listings.
Expired listings. All of these that are showing distress of some sort, whether it's the property's in distress itself and its condition, the person's in distress because of their finances, or even emotional distress. I mean, people inherit properties and it turns into a nightmare with family members, right? So they need to get rid of these properties as soon as possible so they don't tear each other apart. And so you look for these opportunities to go, and that's how we really work for these property owners. This is how we solve problems in the marketplace, because let's be honest, real estate agents don't go for these. Real estate agents go for the for sale by owners, the expired and canceled listings, and then they build up their sphere of influence. They all want to be luxury agents so that they can get the most out of every deal, and so that leaves the distressed properties to us.
So if you call the distress list, you get a hold of, let's say, 10% of them.
Yep.
I make 10,000 phone calls. I'm going to get a hold of 1,000 people.
Yep.
Out of those 1,000 people, how does that now break
100.
down? 100.
Yep.
So now I'm going to get a hold of 10% of that 10%.
Yep.
100 of those become leads, or 100 of those become deals.
Yeah, 100 becomes leads. 5 of those you'll close.
I love it. Okay.
You
so
talk to 1,000 people, you'll do 5 deals, or you do a deal every 200 people you talk to.
write that down.
The
everybody.
toughest part here, though, is it takes 90 days. That's the problem. Nobody wants to go through the fire. Nobody wants to go through the 90 days. And the people that do build that consistency, and then all of a sudden they keep going. But it's difficult. It's difficult being in your, come on in. It's difficult being in like you're a dark room making calls to strangers by yourself, sitting down. That's why you got to stand up. That's why there's got to be lights on. That's why you got to squat up. You got to find people that are doing this business, right? And really connect with people that are a few steps ahead of you, because they're going to pull you along faster. If you just try to go out and watch this and start making some calls, it's really difficult after the second day, third week, sixth week. You know what I mean? 75 days in of making calls, and you haven't closed anything, and your family's like, you are a psychopath. What are you doing? Right? This will never work.
I think
right?
the thing people hear the most is like, you're getting scammed.
Yeah.
Those guys you're learning from on YouTube are scamming.
Yeah, that doesn't
you.
work. Right.
Yeah. Well, I think people, they improperly define hard work, right? Especially if you're coming from a blue collar background. If your hands aren't, getting cut up and you're not sweating, it's not hard work.
Right.
But, I've cut my teeth in call centers, right? I've set up call centers. And what you're saying about those numbers are very, very simple and accurate.
Yeah.
But the execution of those numbers is a lot harder, right? Because it's a different type of difficult. You're getting rejected, right?
Yeah.
That weighs on your emotions. That weighs on your mindset. So what you're tasked with, and I think this is where a lot of people get lost, right? Is people go into this saying, okay, this is a simple formula, TTP. I just go and I pull a list and I talk to people and I just make enough phone calls, and then the reality of this hits them, and then they're in their head. They start coming up with all of the excuses, and they're not executing.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and everybody wants an easier path. That's why I like people that are like on rock bottom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what
Nothing to
other
lose.
option do you have?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're throwing fists from the corner, and you're just doing the best that you can for as long as you can, and you will win. You know what I mean? We see them all the time. We have great events that we meet people at, and it's people that were really in a rough situation, and they just kept at it and kept at it and kept at it, and then other people that are kind of in a more comfortable, more financial situation just kind of go, well, you know what? I'm going to just put it into direct mail, or I'm going to just buy some internet leads. And that's fine, but you have to have you have to have a budget for it.
Yeah, you have to have a budget for it, and then you also have to have a process. Because what I do see is I see people, on the direct-to-agent side, what people do is they forget that there's a lot of follow-up with agents, right? Because agents aren't just... When I'm calling sellers that are on the distress list, I know they have a house.
Yeah.
Whereas I call an agent on a list, I don't know that they have a deal for me, so I got to follow up. So people that go to a 9-to-5 job, they come home from their work, and now they have to motivate themselves to go do this work for this side hustle that hopefully becomes their full-time endeavor and their full-time business. They make calls to agents, and then they sit there and believe that these agents are going to call them the second a deal comes across their table.
Right.
Is that how it works?
No.
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 You know what it's like? It's like, you guys ever heard those, like HelloFresh? You order the ingredients and then it comes to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wholesale Hotline is HelloFresh, right? Because what you're doing is you're delivering to them all of the ingredients, the recipe, the instructions, the cook time. But here's the issue. How many people order HelloFresh and then all the
don't cook
food
it?
sits
Yeah.
there, goes bad in the fridge, right? So we got a bunch of people with all this stuff going bad in their fridge saying, I'm not getting satiated. I'm still hungry.
Yeah.
Because you still got to go and do all of the steps, right? And you can mess those steps up. You can burn the food. You can over-season it, right? You can still make mistakes. But
Do you have a camera inside my house or something?
is that how you cook?
Speaking of camera, here's one of my favorite notaries of all time. Come up here and introduce yourself real quick.
Oh, we signing something?
Are we signing something right now?
Let's do a deal.
Do you know what we're signing?
It's a property in San Antonio, Texas.
Okay, it's a property in San Antonio, Texas. It's a SUBTO deal.
I believe so.
Did what? Tell everybody your name and tell everybody your Instagram name so everybody can follow you. If you're in Arizona,
Loud.
you
Right
gotta
to
say it
that
right here.
microphone.
Here.
So, hi, my name is Lakita Keys. My Instagram is at Keys Lakita. And I am also a part of SUBTO.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, I do pretty much most of Pace's signings. And
Awesome.
She's the only person I trust to come to my house and hang out with me.
yes.
Let's do it. Let's sign this.
All right. So
Are these fast?
it's 33 pages today, but we're gonna get through them quickly.
Okay, cool. We'll let Brent. We'll
Yeah.
let Brent talk while I sign
And
these
Daniel.
things.
Okay.
Daniel, jump over here. So you just had a boot camp,
I did.
right?
I did.
And what was the premise of the boot camp?
To teach people how to get better at this crazy thing we do called sales. But I've been in sales for a long time.
Yeah.
Got into it when I was young. Started training a long time ago. Been through various iterations of it. And what you learn is a couple things. One, people either overcomplicate or oversimplify sales.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think that when it's done right, I think that sales at scale is just the art of human communication.
Sure.
Right? That's
Yep.
all it is.
Yep.
And so when Pace started encouraging me, because I've been doing training inside of SUBTO for a couple of years now, it's like, dude, you need a course. I didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
right? Because I just didn't like the guru thing.
I get it. Yep.
But then I see guys like you.
Yep.
Guys like
What, you know
Pace.
what's funny
Yeah.
is
What?
Brent did the same thing to me
Yep.
that I'm doing to you.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. He's like,
Interesting.
bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Like for like a year.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, and that's the same thing he's doing to me, right? And what I realized is that I came from a different world where there are a lot of coaches and people who have done this, and maybe they don't do it the right way, and
Sure.
maybe that kind of burned me on the idea. But when you see people like you guys and Jamil and who are doing it the right way, it begins to realize a couple things. One, that there is a way to do this the right way, and two, people need the guidance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For whatever that guidance looks like. So what I decided to do is that if I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to do it different, right? Anybody that was there, was it a little different than what you would have expected from a sales course, right? And for me, I'm doing a good job if they're able to take away really, really tangible sales
Sure.
skills, but also say, this is absolutely not what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
So
Why don't they teach sales? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like growing up.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Or even in college.
Holy
Yeah.
crap. Are you kidding me?
They don't teach
'Cause
sales.
Sales is one of those things where you can, if you're great at sales, making $1 million a year is so incredibly easy.
100%.
Yep.
Well, and sales scales to life, right? Because the reality is, if you're good at communicating and understanding effectively, then you're going to have better relationships, right? You're going to have better family interactions, right? These things are necessary. Most of us go through life having conversations that turn into bad communications or arguments.
Sure.
Because we were just accidentally fumbling through speech, right? We weren't intentional with the way we communicated.
Yep.
Then we wonder why we have miscommunications,
Yeah.
right? Sales is just being intentional about the way you communicate.
Love it.
So.
I love it. Well, and people hear sales and they think of like a 80s infomercial dude, that's just
100%.
like, he's just so cheesy and douchey. And we sell all day long
100%. Yes.
as humans.
Correct.
I sell my kids on just getting out of bed and brushing their teeth
Yep.
and putting their socks on. We sell all the time. I mean, it's not just not just like this certain technique to make money. I mean, it comes down to communication.
Yeah.
And it comes down to actually listening.
Yep.
Right? And I'm sure a lot of it was just asking really good questions and then listening to the response.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so walk us through your, like, is it this? Is it what's on your
So
shirt
this
right
is a
here?
part of
Or
it, right?
this,
This is a special hoodie that my lovely lady designed. The people who come to the boot camp get a special hoodie, right?
Yeah.
For me, we break it down into, so the first boot camp was all mindset, right?
Good.
Which a lot of people weren't realizing, right?
What's your Instagram name one more time?
It is at Keys Lakita.
Keys Lakita, look her up. She's the best notary in all of Arizona. Can you do mobile notary stuff? Obviously.
I can do mobile notary stuff. I have resources out of state. So if you're looking for someone in another state, I'll have people that can do it. For
Referral.
You as well.
Nice.
And also
Do you ever do digital stuff?
Not digital, but I also have resources. And LT is also a notary, so she's here.
Hi, LT. Hi.
All right.
Thank you. You're amazing.
All right,
Have a great day.
You too.
Easy stuff. And that was in San Antonio?
San Antonio, SUBTO house. Never, like, the house has never been lived in. It's under 3%. Great deal. Kevin, you should have sold the deal to me.
Should have.
You would be
Missed
closer to
opportunity.
your 50 deal goal this year with just me.
Do you pay him $10,000 each?
Sometimes, I mean, sometimes that you and whoever your partner is make more than that. Sometimes like 14 grand. You had one that was recent. I really don't. I just want you to make $500,000. I want this to be a 22-year-old kid wants to make $500,000 just from me this year, at least.
And how are you finding these deals?
I have a no equity list.
Yep.
I just call and other people call.
No equity list. You call. Who else calls?
And then some other substitutes they should put in here.
And
He's-
you organize it and get it closed?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what happens is Kevin came out to the Golden Ticket event.
Yeah.
Right? This was
Yeah.
the first one, and I was like, man, we need to get you talking about this more and more. So what happens is newer students come to Kevin and go, let me bring opportunities to you. You can help me out. So he's kind of created a group of probably 12 to 20 people that are bringing these opportunities based on what he's telling them to do. He does a weekly Zoom inside of SUBTO for 2 hours.
Awesome.
Him and Chris Jean-Baptiste talking about how to reach out to expired listings and low equity deals. And then my team will TC the deals. You just basically call Molly and go, hey, Molly, I got another one. And before you even text her, you're texting me, and I say yes to everything, basically.
Yeah, because you're the only one that said yes.
I say yes to anything that you send me, I say yes. I even told Quijano today, I go, I don't even own a property in Waco, but I said yes to the deal in Waco because I have a goal to see you make $500,000 this year.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so my team will take it over from there, and then he goes and finds another deal. It's Monday, bro. We've done 2 deals. It's Monday. This is one of those weeks, so we got to do 5 deals this week. Get on it.
So what people in the SUBTO community call on these expired or no equity leads and bring them to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
And I just close it and then I sell the deal.
Conversations and offers.
Conversations
That's it.
and offers. That's it.
Conversations and offers. It should be a tattoo. I'm just telling you, it's.
That might be my
that's what
first
we're talking
tattoo
about.
I get.
Yeah.
No?
You have a
Where would
tattoo.
do it? Like right here? Like Tupac? Conversations.
Where would you're a tattoo guy? Where would I get a tattoo?
I am not a tattoo guy.
You have an
I got
eagle.
a tattoo
You have an
at
eagle.
18 years old, right here. All right, right there. At 18.
Is that the
and
only
that's
one you got?
One. Yeah, that's
Pace told me about the ones you got right here, like right at the bottom.
That
a
one's
rhino.
covered up now.
Okay,
It's
it's
a
covered
rhino
up now.
coming out of the cave.
That's it. That's not a tattoo. That's Chipotle. Yeah, you should get it across your chest, dude. That would be gangster as hell.
Like Tupac.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jamil would appreciate it.
So speaking of lists, or conversations. I want to start having conversations with people. Marcellus Wallace says,
Yep.
"What's the best list to pull right now?" Let me name a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
On Mondays, we have Christian Hernandez, one of our mastermind students, does foreclosures. Foreclosures is always a great list to focus on. Small niche right? Those people are in obvious pain. I would say if you gave me no other list for the rest of my life, I would only want to call on foreclosures because I know I can get a sub-2 deal almost every single day out of a foreclosure list. Second, expired listings, really good for both cash and creative, or for even opportunities for listings.
Yep.
You mentioned that in the beginning of the show.
sure.
And then the other one that's absolutely crushing right now is no equity. If you're a sub-2 student, no equity deals are easy to get, right? What are you seeing in your world in terms of really good lists to pull?
Yeah, ugly house. The uglier the house, the bigger the checks.
So driving for dollars.
So driving for dollars. We've got code violations are absolutely incredible. Go to the neighborhood services department in your local city or town, and go get that list. Inherited properties. We've got properties that have adjustable rate mortgages are really interesting that we're going after. Those are the top ones.
Yeah.
And you can pull, by the way, so in every Thursday in our group in Wholesaling Inc., we have either PropStream or Batch come in and tell us where are people getting the most deals.
Ooh, I like
and
that.
so they'll pull the list for our guys and show them how to do that. So we kind of stay. You want to keep it fresh. Now, the fresher the list, usually it's the smaller the list, right? You know what I mean? These aren't huge lists. You can get through them pretty quickly in a day. So if you're going to call a lot, make sure that you have big chunky lists like a tired landlord or tired multifamily or something.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, if you've got a big team of, let's say, 4 or 5 callers, you're probably calling a high equity list. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you go to like 10 callers, Cody and I at one point had 12 callers. We don't have that many callers now. We've really refined and focused on things. But when you have 12 callers, you're probably in 2 different markets at that point.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of calls, a lot
It's
of phone numbers.
50 addresses an hour if you're using a dialer.
50
And you only want to
an
go
hour.
through that list twice. Listen to me, twice. Maybe recycle that every 3 to 6 months. But if after you go through a list 2 times, the contact rate goes way down. You're going from like 7 to 10% to like 2%. So then you're sitting on the phone and you're talking to like 3 people in an hour. Or a few hours or something. Galen did that today. And so it's really difficult because you set aside the time, you get excited, like you were saying. You come home from your 9 to 5.
Yep.
You still have that like burning passion in your brain to be an entrepreneur. So, but you've got responsibilities, you got stuff that you got to do. So you're kind of finding the spots in your schedule to do this, and then you don't talk to anybody. And you're like, this is just... it really starts tearing at your confidence for sure.
Take everything from me except from my wife, my kids, and my cell phone, and I will dominate the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even need a computer. I don't need anything. Just give me a freaking cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, talking about lists, then going into conversations.
Yeah.
I want to go into a conversation. Let's say I'm calling an expired listing list, right? I know Kevin's calling on that. As a sales guy, inside of SUBTO, you run the nightly dial.
Yep.
Is there a couple of lines that we can come up with, some script that the people in Wholesale Hotline audience could write down? How could I reach out to an expired listing? I'm calling Tim. I just saw he popped up on the list of expired listings, which means for people that are brand new, Tim had an agent trying to sell a house on the market for probably 6 months, and their contract expired, and no longer is there an agent involved in this deal.
Okay. Can I mix it up a little bit?
Yes.
Can I do it? Okay.
I want you to do it the way you want to do it.
Let's reframe this a little bit, guys. I think this is an amazing question. So let's first and foremost forget about a line for a second, right? Let's put our mind into the situation of the person that we're calling.
Yep.
What are they dealing with? Something made them want to sell a house, right? Something made them go and interact with an agent, maybe talk to a couple of agents, go through the whole entire thing, get the house set up.
Yep.
People probably came walking through their houses, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And they, for the last 6 or so months, they've been going through the emotional roller coaster of hoping to sell this house for whatever reason they needed to in the very first place, right? They probably got calls from wholesalers. They've been doing all of this, right? So when I'm going into this conversation, I'm not looking at a name and a phone number on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I'm envisioning a person who just went through everything we just described, right?
Yep.
That should frame how we approach this conversation, right?
Love it.
It should. So when I'm going into this conversation...
Are you saying that that's framing for me in order to say what I'm going to say first, or is it also helping me soften the blow if I feel some frustration on the end of the phone.
Yes, right. And I'll give an example that I used at the boot camp this weekend, right? And I think it's just something. I think a lot of times we understand how to do this because we've been doing it in our lives. We just don't associate it with the work that we do, and so we think it's separate, right? Brent, you're married, right?
Yes.
You ever walk in, your wife just looked like she was not in a good mood?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so you say, hey, is everything
Very
okay?
rare.
Right? Never happens.
Very
Never,
rare,
ever.
honey.
So when you walk in, hey, is everything okay? If she says yes, everything's fine. Yeah, everything's fine, right? Is your response, okay, great. So anyways, let me talk about this.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm just oblivious. I just
completely
completely
oblivious,
house.
right?
It's real easy.
That's how you do it if you want to have really, really good relationships,
yeah, that's
right?
it. No, obviously, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We do that to sellers every time we talk to them.
Sure.
Right? Because we listen to them on the phone, and when they answer that phone and there's something going on in their tone, there's something happening in their lives, instead of listening and recognizing this is a person that I want to have some kind of a relationship with who clearly has something wrong,
Yeah.
and I'm just ignoring it to go back onto whatever I was doing, right? That's how we treat them. And then we wonder why they're hanging up on us or they're getting upset, right? When what we should be doing is stopping for a second, just like we would for somebody we care about,
Yeah.
which is what we say we do. We say we care about them. We say we want to solve problems. Maybe we should act like it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when we call this person up and we sense something is going on in their voice, maybe we should be looking to see if there's something there and then act accordingly. When they answer the phone, they sound flustered, right? You know, hey, I'm calling for such. You know, before I get into this, is everything okay? It sounds like
Yeah.
you're having a rough day,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
You're not going to do that every time, but if the situation calls for that,
Yeah.
be willing to be real in the conversation. So to answer your question, yes, I'm preparing for one, knowing how to frame the conversation with them, but also preparing for whatever attitude they might throw my way, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to call and I'm going to say, hey, so and so, you know, me.
But what about mirroring and matching? What about, you know, they come at you aggressive, you come at them aggressive?
And you know, I look at all this stuff. We talked about this as well. You know, I think those are tactics. For
Yeah.
anybody who's new to sales, those are sales tactics. Sales tactics are effective and they have their place. But I look at tactics like ornaments on a Christmas tree, right? Ornaments serve you no purpose if there's not a tree. And what's a tree? A tree is having a good conversation,
Yep.
right? It's just talking to them and being a real person, right? And where necessary, maybe you'll apply an ornament, and there's
Sure.
a place for that. But doing it for the sake of doing it, you're just wasting everybody's time, right? So I'm going to call them. I'm going to say,
And
hey,
it feels gross.
it does feel. It should feel gross.
You know?
You know.
Like even doing it makes you feel gross, but like on the other side, like getting that from somebody, you're like, what is happening here?
And I think this is what happens, right? When we're calling these people, right? Just think to yourselves, if you guys are actively making calls if you've been watching this for a while, hopefully you are. How many times have you gotten that frustrated conversation from the seller? Oh my God, I've had so many of you people calling me, right?
Yeah.
You just got classified as you people, right? Most of us try to fumble our way through the conversation by saying what all of those people have said,
Yeah.
hoping this time it's different.
Well,
How do you win that conversation is don't sound like those people. Sound different.
Yeah.
Actually care, right? And I think that's the real crux of it. So if I'm calling those people, I'm going to start and I'm going to say, hey, you know, I'm noticing you had this listing on here. I'm sure you got addressing the rhino in the room, right? I'm sure you're getting a lot of calls about this. What happened? Talk to me about this situation.
Yep.
You know, what happened with that sale? Get them to talk to you. Get them to open up with you, and then just have a good, normal conversation.
kind, confident, and curious.
That's it.
Kind, confident, and curious. That's a T-shirt.
Yeah, that is a T-shirt.
Well, I tell that to Bo every morning before school.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's just, you could throw some optimism in there, but kind, confident, and curious on the phone, I think makes you very versatile and very open, right? You're not just set into, I'm going to just say this if they say this,
Yeah.
right? You're trying to see if there's something here that you can help,
100%.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and people sense when you're being shallow, right? I think a lot of times we talked about this on this weekend. You know, we think that we need to. I asked the question, what do you think is more important, confidence or knowledge?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's 100% without question. Every day of the week is confidence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
know nothing and close more than any real estate
Yeah.
broker on the planet.
Listen, I've been saying for 6 years the dumbest people make the most money in this industry.
100%.
Isn't that the truth? It is so true.
I'm just telling you, like if you're trying to if you have paralysis by analysis or perfectionism, it's gonna slow you all the way down. Just go, just try. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
have confidence that you're out there to actually serve somebody, and if you think about that, then you're gonna do it more, and you're gonna feel more comfortable doing it.
If you're new to this business, and you want to hear what these conversations look like from other wholesalers calling, go put out bandit signs. Okay, because most of the phone calls that a bandit sign actually garners is not people that are actually buying.
Correct.
It's wholesalers, right?
Yep.
So wholesalers are like calling a bandit sign to connect with another wholesaler. So say, hey, home for sale. Do a reverse bandit sign. Say home for sale, 3-bed, 2-bath.
That's a genius idea.
I know. I got a couple of those a week.
That's really good. That's good.
So you go do it. Like literally go do it. Take your kids out. Go out this weekend with your wife and put out like 10 bandit signs and say house for sale. Yep. What would be urgent, needed, blah blah blah.
Need to sell, quickly.
Motivated.
Yep.
Right. You're gonna get so many wholesalers calling this. Just listen to their phone calls when they call you, guys. You do not actually have to be phenomenal.
I've had people send a picture to their VA that's like somewhere across the world to make that call.
Yeah. Call this right now.
We both got calls from salespeople.
I hung up on mine. You didn't hang up on yours.
I didn't hang up.
So this is where I was going.
Yeah.
Because you get a call today. It was actually from a wholesaler saying, "Hey, do you have a deal for me?"
Yep.
And I'm listening to this phone call going, "Oh my gosh, this person needs a little bit of training." Situational awareness, 0.
Yep.
Not actually understanding the other human being, like absolute
Correct.
0 capacity.
Yep.
It was, "Hi, do you have a deal for me?"
Yeah. And it
Guys,
like,
I'm not exaggerating.
No.
This is literally what just happened. What was it, a couple hours ago?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting. And by the way, this person works for a very high up organization in the wholesale world.
Which is why I stayed on the phone.
And they said, "Hi, I'm from blank. Do you have a deal for me?"
Yeah.
As if they were reading off of a script.
And here's the worst part. It took them 90 seconds to get to that question because the amount of awkward ways that they asked what I did this weekend, how I was doing right now, and how things are also going. It was just like,
Get to the point.
Can we please
and
do
the
something?
question that she asked was not, "Do you have any deals for me?" She said, "Do you have anything good for me to look at?" And Quijano says, "Are we talking about drugs or houses?"
Because she's like, she's like, "Do you have anything good for me?" And I was like, what are we talking about, right?
Be specific.
Be a little bit more specific, right? But this is why your idea of doing it, it's such a good idea because we don't know how it sounds when it's coming out of our mouth. But it's so frustrating to the person who's imagine if you got those calls 15 times a day.
You'd be frustrated.
You'd want to punch somebody in the face immediately.
This is why I had to put my phone on block all unknown callers because I can't handle those phone calls.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. Here's the opposite side of this. Here's the breath of fresh air for all of you guys who are doing this. Is one could look at this and say, you got a lot of people calling these people. Now that's a negative. It's going to be really hard for me to get through. And there's truth to that. But here's the opposite side to that. Is it's very easy to be the breath of fresh air, right? Because in the midst of a bunch of really, really bad noise, just turning on some soft music actually gets somebody's attention.
Sure.
Just be the person who stands out. Say something different, right? Switch it up a little bit. Do what were the 3 words that you said?
Kind, confident, and curious.
Kind, confident, and curious. That's a magical.
That's
do
all,
that.
that's
Just
all
do
you
that.
need in life, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how do people get better? You know what I mean? Like if people are starting out and they're kind, they're not necessarily confident.
They role play.
They're learning how to be curious, right? But they really don't. I think some people don't ask questions because they feel like it's going to be a dumb question or it's going to be something that is going to cause people to like put up their force field or reject them really hard. You know what I mean? So if you're trying to be curious, but they're like, oh, you're just trying to like interrogate me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do you get better at it?
So I love this question. There's 2 answers to it. Here's my first answer for encouragement. You were an agent for a long time, right? You've seen all aspects of this business. Honest answer. If you had 2 phone calls in a day, one was a guy who, or a lady who sounded a little bit pretentious, right? Kind of a little bit, cocky, not confident, but cocky, right?
So an agent.
So they.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Agents out there. Sorry.
They called. They knew everything. They had all the lines and the phrases, and they knew all the terminologies.
Yeah.
But then you had somebody that called you later and said, "Hey, Brent, bear with me a little bit. I'm a little bit new at this, right? So if I sound nervous, I apologize. Here's what I'm attempting to accomplish. I'm really interested in doing so. Even though I'm new, I have all the resources to genuinely help you." And I'd love to talk to you more about that.
Yeah.
Of the 2,
That'd be great.
You're working with the second one all day long, right?
Hands down.
So first and foremost, this idea that everybody has, guys, you don't need to know anything, right? You just need to approach it with that conversation. And your vulnerabilities are also your strengths if you're honest and transparent about them, right? If you're nervous, just say, I apologize. I sound a little nervous. If you pause, I apologize. I was just taking a couple of notes, right? It's not that complicated, right? So just use that as peace of mind, because that peace of mind will actually impact your confidence. The second thing I would say is follow what you guys are leading, which is, guys, make friends in this business. This is why we have 10, 20, however many calls a week in SUBTO alone, giving people the opportunity to role play together, to call live sellers together. And if you're not in SUBTO or in one of these communities where you can connect and collaborate with each other, go into a wholesale group and just say, hey, I'm new. I need help. Who's new and wants to practice with me, right? I'm helping to build this course because I want to give people resources. You guys did what you do for that same reason. But even if you can't access any of those, there's somebody new just like you who's willing to work with you. Practice together, get the reps in. That's how you get the muscles.
Yeah, that's a tough thing for a lot of people. I think the basic is get around, like strip all that down. The most important part was the first thing that you said, and then it compounds to the other things you said, which was get around the people that are doing the thing that you want to do.
Yep.
Right? Like you think about Brent Daniels, right? You don't just wake up one day as a young boy and go, I'm going to go lift heavy and go play football. You were hanging out with kids in your neighborhood or at your school that had parents or fathers that played football.
Yep.
That ultimately that trickled down, and you guys all loved football.
Yep.
You didn't, it wasn't put in your mind by yourself. Somebody else put that in your mind.
Yep.
Right? And the way you treat your sons and wrestle around with them and love on them in a physical way also came from your father.
Yep.
So the other thing about that is we all make money in our early or late teens, early 20s based on what we learned from our parents and our environment. We already know this. This is scientifically proven. It is absolutely proven. Everything I've done in my life has been because somebody else put the idea in my brain or I watched somebody else doing it. Brent Daniels is responsible for me making millions upon millions of dollars, right? This was an interesting thing. The environment that I was in, okay, I was a contractor, so I did contractor things. Then I had a lady that watched me after years and years. She was like, what the freak are you doing? Here's a new environment. And all of a sudden, it was like I stepped into a different world. However, that world I stepped into was Homevestors. Okay, so Homevestors was a level up, but it had a very hard glass ceiling of like, we're not letting you grow past this point. Yeah. We're not going to let you know more about this business. And so I was convinced that the business could make me this much money, and this is what it looked like. I then meet Brent Daniels, and Brent Daniels shatters that glass ceiling. Shatters it in one conversation. I'm sitting there with
Fuck
Brent.
yeah.
You remember that.
I mean, look at those arms.
They're huge. So he's like Wreck-It Ralph, dude. Wreck-It TTP. So
Hulk
he
smashed him.
So the conversation was this, and it's all I needed to hear. I said, I want to break away from Homevestors, which is where all my leads are coming from. I'm in a franchise model where they take 20, 30, 40% of my deals. I want to break away, but I'm fearful that there's not enough deals out there for me if I'm outside of this model. And what's funny, do you ever even run into Homevestor franchisees?
No.
Do you?
Never.
Yet they had me convinced that because, and when I was in that environment, they had me convinced they were the end all be all of the entire industry. I could only see as far as they would let me see. And so it's the same thing with your very immediate friends. Are they making a lot of money? I would dare to say most people in here, same thing with the Bash Bros. You guys start hanging out with people making more money, all of a sudden you guys start doing things that make you more money. Am I right? Okay, same thing with getting married, having kids, buying a certain car, whatever it may be. Oh, we're not renting our houses anymore. Oh, we're going to start buying our houses. Oh, every little thing that you can trace back in your life. You think you like the music that you like?
Yeah.
No, you don't. Somebody else before you liked it. You didn't just magically say, I like this. Somebody else gave that to you. And so it's the same thing with leaders like Yuki Hano, leaders like Brent, some of my very, very best friends, the people Brent has been a mentor to me, will always be a mentor to me. And it's
vice versa.
The people that you're around are the way you get out of the hump, the stump, the whatever it is. So what does that mean? Where do I go to do that? Let's forget about the communities that we have, right? We've got the TTP, the Astro, and the SUBTO communities that combined are the three amigos of community, right? forget about us for a little while. We know we're the industry leaders. Our people are leaders in the industry, which is amazing. Let's say that I'm not somebody that I can jump into a mentorship right now. A really great way to go is go to a monthly meetup. Okay, I know that in Houston, for example, our community is allowing non-community members to come into something called Power Hour.
Nice.
Okay, why do they call it Power Hour, Brent? Did they come up with that idea?
No.
Where did it come
Are you talking
from?
about like a Super Saturday?
Is that
what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
This came from you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, people in my community in SUBTO or our community were inspired by something you talked about that you used to do on Saturdays and have been starting to bring back.
Yeah.
Which was what?
Super Saturday.
And what does that mean?
People would come in. I would be making calls. They got to experience it, but they had to participate. They had to make calls. And people were making their first calls that they've ever made before, right? But they see me do it, and they're like, oh, okay. When you see people do it, all of a sudden it takes away, like, the mystery of it.
Yeah.
And if it's not mysterious, then you're like, oh, well, it's just nobody's going to, like, hunt me down and find me. You know what I mean? It's just a call.
Yeah.
Like, what's the worst that could happen? You know what I mean?
Guys, this is true about everything in life.
Yep.
Driving your first car. When I watched my friend's dad hand the keys over to my friend and say, drive the car, I'll sit in the passenger, Pace, you jump in the back. And we're just kind of meandering through a church parking lot, and I'm watching my friend drive this vehicle. I'm like, whoa, I've been overthinking this whole time, right? It's the same thing when I went to kiss my first girl. Weird to say,
Laura
but
Morby.
I thought Laura Morby, the only girl I've ever kissed. When I went to kiss my first girl, I was so deathly afraid of it until I saw that my friend had kissed a girl. I'm like, there was no YouTube at the time, how to kiss a girl. It was where you learn this stuff was your older brother or your older sister. It's the people and the environment you're around. You learn everything in life from other people. So when the whole thing of like, how do I get started? The magic is, you've been saying this with sales. It's inside of you. You've been doing it your whole life. You've just never identified it as thus. So for example, I want to do something. Dude, I got to get around the guy that's doing it. And magically his vibration wears off on me. It's the weirdest voodoo crap of all time.
Yeah. You uncover the coat hangers.
You uncover the coat hangers. Yeah, you identify the monster in the closet and realize it's just coat hangers.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's so cool about, even as little as pulling a list, right? People overthink pulling a list. Well, what list should I pull?
Does it work in my area? I'm in a small market. I'm in a big market. I'm in a competitive market. Will it work here? Do you need,
Here's the question you should ask yourself. Are there any landlords within 5 miles of where you live?
That's it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Even if you get a bad list, you're still getting great practice.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, every list is a great list for that reason, because you're always sharpening that skill. And I challenge people a lot of times, if you get into a call that you know is just kind of a BS, you just know it's not going anywhere, take 3 minutes and practice something that you've been wanting to do, but you're scared to do it on a real lead. Just say it out loud. Realize that nothing's going to happen. No one's going to hunt you down, and just use those things as opportunities to practice. Everything's an opportunity.
Yep.
Now, Brent, you have something coming up.
Yes.
I just updated my whole travel schedule.
Wholesale Summit 2023.
Wholesale
that
Summit
is
23.
April 15th and 16th. Can you put it in the
Yeah, please put it on there.
the deal, Matt?
Super excited about this. This is going to be in Arizona.
Yeah.
Where are you holding this?
This is it's in Mesa.
Oh!
When life makes you eat your words.
Border. It's basically Tempe, but it's
Is it like
it's
Mesa Tempe Marketplace area?
It is. It's right there by the spring training fields.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do they call that? Mesa Marketplace or Mesa Riverview?
Yes.
Great
That's
area.
it. That's it.
Okay, so that's amazing. It's like 10 minutes from my house.
Nice.
Am I invited?
You are.
Am I invited?
You are.
Okay, so SUBTO, Astro, TTP Summit.
Yep.
You're essentially getting everybody together.
That's it.
I love it.
Okay, so
That's it.
what are you calling it again?
It's the Wholesale Summit 2023. I think that's the website, right, Matt? Yeah.
Wholesale Summit.
It's you, it's me, it's Jamil, it is Tom Kroll, it is Todd Toback, it is going to be Henry Washington. It's going to be absolutely incredible. It's got Daniel Chiano. It's going to be great. Yeah.
I'm super excited about that.
But I mean, it's not even about the stage. It's about the energy in the room is going to be like a family reunion / wedding / like, yeah, I don't know, like
Yeah.
What
is
are
this
they?
a
What are the?
2-day event or a 3-day event?
It's 2 days, Saturday and Sunday.
Who are you gonna have an MC or are you the MC?
No, I've got an MC.
Damn.
Yeah.
This is like legit.
Real legit.
Too legit to quit.
And that's it.
Dude, I'm excited. So April what?
15th and 16th.
That's in
We
like
actually
40 days.
we sold it out, so we're actually getting an extra room. We're pushing into the next room.
Wowzers.
So
Okay,
it's
so-
going to be absolutely incredible. Yeah.
I'm pumped.
Yeah.
What? Tell me. So when I go to these events,
Yeah.
the thing I love to do is hang out in the hallway and meet everybody.
Yeah.
So, is it one of those places where like the speaker's going to hang out?
That's
and
the
meet
whole
everybody?
thing. That's the whole point.
I love it.
Yeah.
Are you doing a VIP party? A
Yes,
party?
we are.
an
Saturday
ice cream.
nights.
It's in Mesa, so you got to have an ice cream party.
Of
An ice cream
course.
social.
Yeah. There's going to be all sorts of things,
Okay, cool. So
but
there's.
also some adult beverages.
Oh, really? You'll have like some spiked root beer floats.
That's it.
Don't tell Pace. I want to see him. Get
Everybody
a little
gets
tipsy.
2 drink tickets, and
Really?
you'll have 2 ice cream tickets. That'll be nice.
When you guys see me at parties and get-togethers, do you guys think I'm just a child?
Just eating sweets.
Oh, you're just eating ice cream or Diet Coke or something like that. Like Diet Coke's a treat for me.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited. This is the
Wholesale Summit 2023. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
biggest event you've ever done.
Yeah.
So what was the motivation? What made you want to put something like this together?
Community. You know, I mean, you travel, right?
Yeah.
And just with my family dynamic, traveling just doesn't work, and so I need people to come here.
Right.
And I want to bring everybody together. And I want students to get deals from TTP students, to get deals from SUBTO students, to get deals from everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just having, I know that the TTP and Wholesaling Inc. students are so proactive that there's going to be so many deals done at this event.
Yeah.
In the hallways,
Wow.
at the VIP sections, in the whatever. You know what I mean? Before it, after it, relationships are going to be built. Best friends are going to be made at this event. I'm telling you, it's going to be bananas.
So this is going back to the original conversation. Like, how do I overcome, getting started and having these conversations? Is the truth for me? You could have told me scientifically, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am a creature that needs to be around other creatures
Yep.
doing the thing.
Yep.
I am a herd animal through and through. I'm a social creature. I do exactly what my friends are doing. Mm-hmm. And so we talked about this at your boot camp. I refuse to hang out with people that do not provide an avenue for me to just essentially emulate.
Yeah.
So what your event is going to do is your event is going to give people that vibration and that ability to come in and connect and make new friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
It's
if you
gonna be
if you
the
guys
best.
have crappy friends,
Yeah.
I had a reel recently go viral that was like, fire your friends are pieces of shit. And that's it. Anytime somebody DMs me on Instagram and goes, Pace, my life I'm struggling, this and that and this, I go, your friends are pieces of shit.
Yeah.
That's like all down to the root of everything. It's the people you hang around.
Yeah.
You know what's funny to me, right? I'm the newer guy on the scene in the real estate world, right? And what's funny is when I got into this world, we talked about this. I grew up in environments where I was alone a lot. I had to look out for myself type circumstance. My lady over here, she also grew up in New York, right? Which is just Brooklyn, Queens. You mind your business. Stay, you don't go and say hi to somebody that's standing next to you, right?
Right.
Everybody's doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But I think there's people who have learned to survive like that, but you don't thrive like that, right? And you search as humans, we're community creatures. And so I get into environments like these, and it's just such an amazing place to thrive, right? Because it'll transform things. It's kindergarten. It makes you go and make a friend, go and
Yep.
introduce yourself.
Yep.
And honestly, I love the idea of something like this because what were we just talking about? How do you get better? I promise you, if they show up to this event and they find 10 people, hey, who are you? Let's create our pack. And for the next 10 months, the rest of this year, the 10 of us will not let each other fail.
Yeah.
And they'll have amazing lives at the end of that year if they commit to that.
Yeah. Well, it's just different, right? I mean, Zoom's great.
Zoom's
But
great.
face to face, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Face to face, get to meet people, get to see them, get to be around them. It's not just some,
Guys,
you know.
ChatGPT can do
Yeah.
whatever it wants to do.
Yeah.
community is always going to trump any technology out there. That's all there is to it. And we were at Four Peaks Brewery the other night. I had one of the Gators come up to me, and they're like, hey, I've been giving out loans on these Gator deals, and I'm tap out of money, and I need like $45,000. I go, let's practice something. Her name's Danny, so shout out Danny. So she goes, okay, what do we do? I go, let's ask the next person that you don't know and I don't know how much money they have. The first question, I don't even want to ask their name. Let's just go, hey, how much money do you have? Okay? Because this is the thing. We're not at a church social.
Right.
We're not at Walmart just walking up to randos. You acquire people into an environment like the Wholesale Summit.
Yeah.
These are gonna be people that the expectation is, yo, I'm here to make money.
That's it.
So the first person we asked the question to, I go, hey, how much money do you have? She goes, 500,000, but I think I could probably get 600,000. Literally the first answer, right? And these are the types of things that happen at these events. You get private money lenders, you get partners. Kevin Cho, you said you've got newer people coming to you and going, hey, I now have the education, I now have the connection, I need to have somebody to practice with, which would be you, right? So you're gonna find people to maybe even work for your team, bring leads to you. This is something you do as well. You have a lot of newer people like Jasper, Jasper's son, shout out Jasper's son.
Shout out.
Shout out, dog. Came in and he plugs into your organization rather than going out on his own.
Yep.
So you'll find people to partner with, people to come work for you, private money lenders, transaction coordinators, unicorn agents, agents that understand the investing world and being an agent.
My business does not exist without the other people that I met in SUBTO.
It's weird.
100%. My lead flow, my team, everything. It's the community.
It is the community. It is the community. Yeah, let's pop that up, dog.
I will. Matt, did you get it on there?
I want to see this. Wholesale Summit.
Is Matt alive?
He was out for a little bit, but he's back. Yeah, check on him. So, Growth Summit, Eddie.
Growth Summit 2023. That's it.
Boom.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate you. You look
The Bash Bros, strong.
What's up with Eddie's hair? You see Eddie's hair?
It looks
He
good.
looks like Rufio from Hook.
That's a great movie, dude.
Right? It's one of my favorite movies ever.
Okay, you're gonna pop this up for us. Okay, so while you're pulling that up, Bree says, which actually made me talk about Growth Summit. I am going on a book signing tour. Has anybody seen that schedule that I have for my book signing tour? It's disgusting. I don't know how we're gonna pull it off, but we're gonna pull it off. I've got 30 cities that I'm gonna go to in 10 days.
You driving?
I'm flying Steve Harwood's plane.
He's the pilot.
Steve Harwood called me and said, "How can I help you? He's like, the community and everything has changed my whole entire life. How can I help you get out there?" So we're starting in Seattle and we're going to go all the way out. And then my final day, I open for Ed Milet on stage on my final day of the book signing tour.
Awesome.
And
is it out?
The book does not come out till May 1st.
What?
So I'm going on my book signing tour May 1st through May 10th.
Yeah.
And my goal is to get on the Wall Street Journal bestseller list during that week by going and doing book signings.
Love it.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Can you pre-order?
Yeah, you can pre-order. This is weird to say. I feel like I'm living in a parallel universe, but my book on Amazon and Barnes & Noble is the #1 in business right now.
Let's go.
Yeah, pretty
Let's
exciting.
go.
Pretty exciting. Weird. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everybody that loves on us for that. I appreciate it. Thank you. So growthsummit2023.com. Can we pull that up and do a little screen share?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you do that, bro. Do a little screen share for us. I know how to do it. Matt, you do it.
Oh, now he's back.
Matt is back. I love it.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Cooper Landing. Hey, Cooper Landing, DM me. I told him I was going to sponsor him. I met his parents, and his parents said, "Hey, he's starting a fishing company. And would you sponsor him?" I go, "Only if he starts a YouTube channel." So he started a YouTube channel, and we're sponsoring him. So
awesome.
DM me and remind me, please. All right, so
how do you sponsor a YouTube channel?
$97.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the cheapest freaking one I've ever seen, dude.
I know.
Are you sure?
This is not about the money. This is not about upsells. This is not about anything. This is about people getting in the room and doing business and making real friendships.
Oh, you know who we need to get?
No.
Can I suggest another speaker? She can have half my time.
Sure.
Vina Jetty.
Okay.
You guys agree with that?
Yeah, be awesome.
We should get Vina Jetty to take half my slot.
Awesome.
Can we get her out?
Yeah.
Dude, she is so good.
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
bring her on.
we need to have Vina Jetty. We all agree with this? Okay, cool. You got all your time slots filled, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll give her half my time.
Awesome.
Okay, and
Yeah.
Jamil will give her half his time too.
Awesome.
We'll figure it out.
She'll just pop up twice.
Yeah, she'll pop up twice. It'll be phenomenal.
She'll love that.
It'll be really, really great. I'm super excited. I'll be all over the country, traveling all over, but I love doing the events here locally because you get to bring everybody from all over the country.
Yeah.
And then what happens is they all go back home and that you see them start doing deals all over the country
I
with
know.
each other. It's pretty freaking
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Well, me and Pace were talking about this earlier today before we came here. And you have these eras of speakers and gurus and motivational people that have been encouraging people over time. And for many, many years, they were untouchable. They were at a distance and they were really, really far away. And you've seen the evolution of that. And I think what people need now is just tangible, reachable, accessible, and being able to say that this is a real person that's just lived a life who's actually showing us what's possible. And I think that's exactly what you guys have done, right? And I think that the landscape is changing because it's now becoming the standard. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who came before you guys who are going to start fading away because they can't keep up with it, right? But it's necessary.
Well, because they're weird in real life. That's the absolute truth.
That is
They're
true,
just
actually.
they don't want to have a community. They don't want to be around people because they're weirdos.
Yeah.
They're just it's an act. It's just acting.
Yeah.
Come check us out. Come see if we're acting. All right.
Yeah.
Come check us out April 15th and 16th.
Yeah.
You're gonna be. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
You know, when we were growing up, right, and you're going through a mindset thing right now. We can all agree we're all going through our own mindset stuff all the time, right? It's an evolution.
Sure.
Next week I'll have a new mindset issue I'm going through, whatever. There's always a mindset thing. So you're going through what I went through probably like 4, 5, 6 years ago on one thing. In other ways, you're ahead of me on other mindset things that I'm still going through, right? But in one, it's like buying a house that's your dream house. And the first thing that comes to your mind is how expensive it is,
Yeah.
right? Versus when you start hanging out with people that are living in your dream homes and you start realizing, oh, that's completely touchable. You cut that veil that has been like put between us and what our dreams are.
Yeah.
And that's what our goal is. Brent and I have talked about this all the time of like, we want to be so transparent with people and show them what our businesses look like that they're like, wow, you idiots did this? Like, there's no way I can't do this.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's really important, and I hope this registers with everybody. We're having, for different reasons, the economy is in a tough situation like it was 2008.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest reasons it won't be as bad now for many people
Yeah.
is because of you guys.
Oh.
And that's not an exaggeration. Think about that,
Send me
guys.
an invoice
How
for
many
that. Send me an
tens?
invoice.
How many tens of thousands of people right now are able to not lose their house because of what you teach?
A lot.
How many tens of thousands of people are able to replace their income because of what you guys have taught? But that means there's tens of thousands of foreclosures and evictions and bad situations, and the trickle-down effect of that are not happening. They don't exist because you guys decided to take the time to make it bigger than you, to talk to other people about it, to invite people into your offices, and do all of this stuff for free. You, whether it's ever, the KPIs on this are ever tracked.
Yeah.
You guys, I genuinely believe
I'm
this.
tracking all of them.
You're tracking them?
Yeah, I
Let
got
us know
them.
later. Let us know later, behind the curtain. But I genuinely believe this, and I mean, I'd love to see if anybody here agrees with this, but I genuinely believe that the economy of the United States will be impacted differently because of what you guys have been done.
Awesome.
That's the importance of this. That's the importance of community.
I love Elena.
Yeah.
This is how you touch my heart right here when you say little stuff like this. Thank you, Elena. Good to see you.
Helping the little guy.
We love you.
But you have to do it, though. You can have every single door open for you. You can have everything open for you. But if you're not part of a community and you're not going to take the action to do it, nothing changes. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to. There has to be a point where you're either fed up with where you're at, or again, like you were saying, you're repotted. You're like in this little pot like this, right? And you can only grow so much in this little pot.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get around people that put you into a big old giant pot, and now you're just growing and growing and growing and growing. But you have to make that choice. You have to go out there and decide that, you know what, I'm going to surround myself with incredible people. Not only that, but I'm going to provide value to them by going and taking all those shots to the chin when I'm making all these calls and getting rejected and going through these things. I'm going to build my skills up so that I can help the people that I'm around in this thing as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not just hanger-oners.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to really go out and build the skills and take the actions, or you don't stay in a community long.
Well, here's what a community does. Okay, so check this out. When you're using this pot for an example, right? These little succulents that you got right here. Kevin, do you ever feel like I'm plucking you up out of a little pot and putting you in a big pot? And last week, right? I put a lot of pressure on you. The week before, I put pressure on you. I do this to Carly, have I ever done that to you? Bash Brothers, have I ever done this to you? Okay, that plant, as much as it wants to be, it sees that bigger pot across the table, it can't pluck itself. Somebody has to come along and see your value and go, you should be in a bigger pot. And that's what a community does. Somebody that comes, Brent did this for me. Brent does this for me frequently. A lot of my good friends go, your pot is too small. You're trying to find comfort. You're trying to be too close to the walls of this pot. I'm going to create a bigger pot and pluck you and put you in that uncomfortable situation. And you feel naked for a little while, right? Do you not feel exposed and naked? And oh my gosh, I feel like I'm an imposter, that you're now putting me in a situation that I should be making $500,000, right? I took you to dinner one night at Nobu and I spent $2,000 on you, not because you deserve $2,000 of sushi. I should have eaten all that sushi myself. It was because I wanted you to see that there's a different world that exists, that people go out there and very frequently go spend a lot of money on things while you're sitting here going, I'm going to go buy shoes at Payless for $14, right? It's a different pot. So a community is people that are like, oh my gosh.
Billy.
Is this Billy? Mm-hmm. I call him
What's up, man?
Billy, shout out Billy, bro. I call him Billy the Kid in my cell phone.
Yeah.
And he has a smile of a happy kid right there. So
yeah, because I know how much he's cash flowing a month.
I know, he's crushing it.
Yeah.
He's crushing it. So my point is, a community is people that are plucking you out of your existing pot and putting you into a new pot. You can't do that on your own. No matter how many books you read, no matter how many seminars. I don't know about you guys, but that's how I am. I need somebody else to help me.
Yeah, you know what's funny is, well, two things. One, I just learned that Pace and Brent sell pot.
Yeah.
In case anybody would. So you don't have to go pluck yourself.
Big
Right.
pot.
Go pluck yourself, bro.
No, but to that same point, right? I actually had this thing in my head that I was going to have to make it, and I was proud about the fact I was going to make it on my own, by myself,
Right.
don't need no help. It's the dumbest thing I ever thought in my life.
It is.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, but you guys are right. I mean, it is the community. And the amount of things that you glean, the amount of years you save by plugging in, it's mind-blowing.
Speaking of Billy, you knew Billy right when he walked in, but Billy joined SUBTO. What's funny is that at the point, Billy probably had 20, 30 rentals at the time when you joined SUBTO 2-3 years ago, right? And he says to me, I remember you said, I joined SUBTO because you reminded me of how much I have to help people and take everything that I've learned, and you've reignited who I really was, which was I'm a giver. And I get so many South Carolina and North Carolina students call me and go, dude, this guy Billy is one of the most valuable people I've met in the last 10 years of my life. So you're plucking people from these little pots that they're in and saying, hey, you deserve something bigger.
Let's give it for Billy.
Give it up for Billy. Woo! Having a live audience should be a requirement.
Yeah, 100%.
Great to see you, Billy. That's awesome.
So amazing. You can tell he's from the Carolinas when he talks. That's not a Long Island accent.
Well, Billy was in my office, a month and a half, 2 months ago, and he was doing deals.
Yeah, he's
he was
great.
Just doing deals the whole time.
Wow.
Just getting renters into your properties. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he's amazing. So many people join our community, and I'll say, hey, you're in the Carolinas, reach out to Billy. He's amazing. They'll text me a day or two later and go, this is my best friend. I didn't even know he existed on the planet. This is the greatest thing.
Are you going to come to the summit? April 15th and 16th here in Mesa.
Bring the kids.
Let's try. We'll see.
That's it. That's
love
a
it.
guaranteed yes from Billy. You guys couldn't hear it out there, but a guaranteed Billy's going to be there. There you go.
As long as the missus says okay.
All right. As long as the missus gives them. All right. Awesome.
What else we got?
Look at all these amazing people.
Look at that. People connecting in the chat.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay.
So Daniel, we kind of pulled it. So number one is really think about the person that you're
Yeah.
calling before you go.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And I really like that a Bill Belichick, right? Just do your job this play. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
their whole philosophy is it doesn't matter what's going to happen on the next play or the play that just happened.
Yeah.
Just do your job this play.
Sure.
Right? And that's how we built so many championships. And that when you say that, that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's like actually focus on this and don't just be robotic and turn off and just press go and just do it. This is why I think a lot of times when you hire just cold callers and they don't have a tremendous amount of real estate experience, they're very, I mean, you have to call 4 or 5 times as many people.
Yep.
Or they have to call 4 or 5 times as many people to get real good quality leads. And I think it's exactly what you're talking about. I think they're doing their job and they're going to stay consistent. They're going to do it, but they don't have that missing piece, that real perspective that goes, I understand what this person is going through because maybe I've been through it myself or maybe I've talked to a lot of people that have and I've really dug deep. And I think that's what's missing oftentimes when you hire people at $4, $5, $6 an hour that you would get with somebody that's more, $10, $20 an hour. I don't know.
No, that's 100% true, right? And I didn't even know that perspective from Bill Belichick, but it's the exact same thing I say when we're doing these trainings is just focus on the conversation you're having.
Yeah.
Right? Don't worry about all of the other things you're supposed to say. You're not supposed to say anything.
Yeah.
But what's appropriate for the conversation you're having.
Right.
Right? And so to your point, I think that a lot of it's relational. So there was a lady, Toya, if she's listening, shout out to Toya. Toya was special because she thought the boot camp was a scam.
Oh
Right?
yeah, she did.
She did.
All the way to like
All
the
way
day
to scam.
before. Or
Correct.
something. Yeah, yeah.
Correct. I'm getting text messages from people. She's like quadruple verifying that we're legitimate. She's like, "Are you sure it's not a scam? Are you sure it's not a scam?" She comes out, nicest lady.
Sure.
Right. And so I did something in the room. I profiled her, right? I said, "Look, I bet you're the type of person that's, you're known as the nurturer, the caring person,
Sure.
right?" And here's what's funny. You get, the FBI negotiator and all these people who are trained in doing this, right? I've learned how to do it. I've done this my life. But I had her stand up and I had everybody look around and I said, raise your hand if you would have thought the same thing about her, right? Most people raised their hand and would have thought the same thing. And the point that I was making is what's the difference? All the training that I have is kind of irrelevant because you noticed what I noticed. The only difference was I made it a point to be aware that I noticed it. And then I used what I noticed, how to effectively, as a way to effectively change and alter the way I communicate with her.
Sure.
Because I recognize that we all have these things and they manifest in the way we stand, the way we, posture ourselves and in the tone of our voice.
Sure.
Right? So when you're calling and you're focusing on that conversation, if I hear a guy that answers like he's from Brooklyn, I'm not going to talk to him like a guy from South Carolina or North Carolina, right? If I'm having a conversation with him, I'm going to be different, and they're going to respect and appreciate that. I just think we undervalue how important that is.
Sure.
So
Now, personality types.
Yeah.
Do you get into that?
I have a whole section I'm building out about it.
So talk to us about it because this is really, really, really important.
It is, right? So here's what's funny. I'm kind of a nerd about this. Actually, if you go back to Socrates and you look at the phlegmatics, the different, personality types, there are cultures in the past who actually built their society around what they deemed to be what we would call now biotypes. It wasn't personality, it was biology, right? And so when you were born into that society, your job would not be dictated based on what you wanted to do. It was based on what your biology said you were meant to do. Right? So you have
I feel like we're still kind of like that.
we are. We just don't know that.
The kids that had talks too much on their report cards. Yeah, we're all in sales.
Yep.
Yeah, we're all in sales,
100% are in sales.
You know what I mean?
Right? But see, what happens is the issue
And
with our
analyticals go more towards
engineering,
Integration,
right?
some
Correct.
operators, yeah.
Right? But here's the thing. Not 100% of society allows that. Because what if you have a family that
Right.
you're a talkative person, you're supposed to be out
Yeah.
doing something, and they're like, no, you got to be a doctor.
Right.
That's
You're
Jamil.
miserable.
Jamil was his family was disappointed in him because he didn't want to be a doctor
Yeah.
or an engineer, right? He comes from the Indian community.
Yeah.
And he was so expected, even though he was the funny guy, the class clown, obvious that this guy should have been on TV.
Yeah.
It was a disappointment that he because of who he came from, not who he was.
Yeah.
He should be a doctor.
Correct. And I think we live in a world, and especially in Western society, where fitting in is the standard, right? Anybody who went to public school, we were never taught to know ourselves and evolve into our best version of us. We were taught to fit in, right? And if you don't fit in, that's a bad thing,
Right.
Now you're chastised, you're ostracized, you lose community, right? And now that's impacting your self-esteem. And so we become these versions of ourselves where we live our adult lives trying to fit into the molds of other people, things that they created for us, and we don't get to know who we are, right? And I think that's very, very important, because the foundation of my course is this: learn how to understand yourself, learn how to understand other people, and then use good communication to bridge that gap.
I love that.
That's what this all is.
How do we learn about ourselves?
That's the tough part, right? So I think the first thing we have to ask, and this is where I think there's a handful of types of people on the planet.
Sure.
And then you have your outliers, right? Pace is a great example of an outlier,
Sure.
right? He's just going to, he's Pace,
Yeah.
right?
Batteries come included.
Correct.
Yeah.
Included, right? And do not need recharging. So, but I think that it starts with being able to have the honest conversation with ourselves and say, look, if nobody was watching, who do I want to be? How do I want to act?
Sure.
What does that look like?
Sure.
And then do I have peace when I do that? Okay, who is this person? And now that I know this about myself, right? And here's the thing. We get this. How many of us have ever walked into a networking event and we go up to this person, conversation's kind of weird. We're like, okay, it was nice meeting you. We walk away. Then we go to another person and all of a sudden we're sparking up an amazing conversation. And we'll say things like, oh, they had a great vibe, right? I just got a lot of, we call it vibes. What you're acknowledging is at its core, that person had the same personality type or biotype that resonated on your frequency. You picked that up. Again, we do this unconsciously. My goal is to just teach us how to be conscious about it, know how to define it, and then use it in a way that we can deploy in conversations to, be effective at our jobs.
I love it. And so give us are there different, I've always been taught it was expressive, amiable, driver, and analytical. The
Yes.
4 main groups, and then there's kind of a combo
There is.
of those.
Yeah, so
is that the terminology you use, or is it you use something else?
I'm
Because you were
thinking
going
about-
into some Socrates thing.
Yeah,
that was
yeah. So that's where you get the
phlebotomist or
sanguines
something.
and phlegmatics and all
Yeah.
of those different things. Cholerics, right? There's cholerics who are more of a fiery personality. Then
Yeah.
they have fake fires who aren't actually. I think I'm wondering if I want to use a standard one or come up with my own, right? There's a million of them out there,
Sure.
right? We have animals, we got colors, we
Yep.
have, the Myers-Briggs. I would love to come up with a way to simplify it in a way that makes sense for everybody. Colors are good. Colors cover about 4. There is another one that's on there that kind of, I guess is left out. But it really comes down to, if you want to make it simple, you have your analytical people, right? They're the engineers of the world. You have your more kind of emotional people who are introverted. You have your extroverts who are also very emotional. They're on the other side of that spectrum.
Yep.
You have your A-type personalities,
Yep.
right? And then you have an outlier over here who is kind of like it's the best way to describe it is they have both sides of the introvert and extrovert. They're very charged in their emotions, right? These are the types of people that you can see either become, nomads, right? They just going and they're camping in their Subaru and they don't want to be plugged in, but they're also known with aggressive personalities, right?
Is anybody in here? Any nomads?
I don't see a nomad.
I feel like Carly, if you let her go, she would want to be
I could see her evolving, cocooning into one.
You could be a nomad for a while, like live in a van for a while, right?
Oh, yeah.
Heavy van vibes with a golden retriever. Yeah. Right.
And like maybe 2 girls.
Correct.
That's what we're doing if you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so, I mean, if you look at it, look at people who live in certain places, right? We made a joke about this one day that somebody was this person, they were wearing Birkenstocks, right? Right?
Crushed it.
There was a 70% chance that they were driving a Subaru and had a golden retriever, right? Like, these are the things that we notice about each other, right?
Yeah.
And because we just have these things we default kind of merge into. And I just think it's important that we talk about
Here's how important it is, okay? Somebody at Birkenstock is like,
They know
you.
They know this.
Everybody, and this goes into sales. How do I profile the people that are buying my product, and how do I tailor my product to go specifically deep dive on that profile of a human being?
Yep.
Like they're going to open up a Birkenstock shop in Denver before they open one in Albuquerque.
They're not opening one in Albuquerque.
No, there's no
They're
way.
not.
Because
No.
you need steel toes
No.
there. Like,
Chinos and Chucks, those are going to be in Albuquerque. Dickies has a shop in Albuquerque, right? But here's the thing. These big companies understand personality types.
Oh, yeah.
They market to them. They send the ads to you. They know exactly what we're talking about. And here's the worst part. Just like new people in real estate, hear what you guys are talking about, like, oh, that's a scam. There's going to be new people who are trying to understand how to better communicate with people and hear this like, oh, that's nonsense. But the people who are making $1 billion in their businesses, they know this stuff.
Of course.
And they're leveraging the fact that we don't.
Yep. There's a great book called Versatile Selling that really helped me out. It's like this thin, and it's very dry. I mean, it's not. It just kind of breaks down the different personalities and what you were talking about: high emotion, low emotion. And really good book.
Yep.
I would suggest that to
a
anybody.
book that just came out about the colors it's called Surrounded by Idiots.
Interesting.
It's a phenomenal book. Because
Okay.
I've loved the 4 colors, but you're right, it's missing some things.
It
Right,
is.
the 4 colors simplifies it.
Sure.
Surrounded by Idiots basically addresses the fact that you assume those people that are not on your same wavelength are just idiots.
That's exactly what we think.
Instead of understanding how to identify them and then to change your wavelength to communicate with them properly.
Yep.
That book, Surrounded by Idiots, is really, really good. But again, your model that you'll do there's 2 personality types I feel like it's missing, and you'll address those in your model.
And here's the thing, it goes past sales, and we've talked about this. At scale, I want this to be a thing that people will learn how to have better relationships with their spouses and their kids,
Yeah.
right? If anybody is a parent who says, I just don't understand this kid, I just don't understand, they probably just have a personality type that's on the opposite side of the spectrum from you. And you guys will always go to war because you think the other person's doing it wrong, not realizing that there is so much strength if you realize how to bridge that gap, right? There's father-son relationships that don't exist for something this simple.
What about and somebody brought it up here, what about the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? What if they're different personalities? Is it going to affect you, or do you naturally find people that are similar to your personalities?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it if you have a friend group, right? Anybody who has a friend group that's got a decent, more than a handful of people in it, you always have that one person.
Yeah.
Right? We all have that one person. Well, that one person could be a hot mess, or they could just be a personality type that for whatever circumstances, you guys made it in the same group, but they're just a different type that probably under different circumstances would have never fit in. What if we could understand that, right? I mean, there's so much about things like this that I think we're missing. And when it comes down to real estate, we are leaving millions of dollars on the table by calling somebody up, assuming, oh, that person's not interested. I've listened to calls on the nightly dial on this and that. Oh, that they weren't interested. Yes, they were. You were just talking to them from your point of view, not from theirs.
Yeah.
Now, what about an analytical personality? I mean, they're typically very responsible. Can we do deals with analytical
yes.
people?
Oh my God, those in reds are some of my favorite.
Those analytical is predictable.
Very predictable.
They're way more predictable than anybody else.
So talk about it.
You know the questions they're going to ask. You know the processes they're going to go through. They're going to say stuff like, "Well, let me have my attorney address this."
Yep.
So there's certain things that you say up front before it ever gets to that point. Like, "Hey, look, why don't I send over the paperwork that my attorney put together? In fact, do you have an attorney that I can send this to?"
Yeah.
You start addressing those things ahead of time.
Yeah, I like to be really organized and structured in the way
This
that I
is
do
important,
this.
guys, for real. Yeah.
Just know when you know that they're that type of person. Yeah, I like to be really organized and structured. Oh, me too, right? You automatically have an unspoken.
It's
rapport.
like going to somebody that lives in Gig Harbor and saying boat. It's like it's like music to your guys' ears, or people in Denver, Birkenstock, or
Granola,
or people in Albuquerque. What do we say to them?
Orale.
Oh yeah, orale.
I'm
Whatever.
sorry to I know that's not a fair representation, but okay.
I mean, it's pretty close.
It's close. It's
So
close.
you say the magical word. So an engineer or an analytical type, what did you say at the beginning of the conversation to set it up? What did you say? Just barely?
Yeah, look, I like to approach things from a very organized and structured fashion. I hope that's okay.
Let me
with
show you exactly how I came up with this number.
Yeah.
Right?
But if you said that to me,
Oh.
Oh no! Wait! Hold on.
you'd be like, Sir, are you still there? Sir, are you still there?
Yep. But it's just funny, right? The same line. And this is the problem. We like to think of the world from our perspective. Of
course.
We put our brain inside of the seller's heads. Not everybody thinks like us.
No.
And it's actually very arrogant to assume that everybody does, right? And so if I know that I'm talking to an analytical person, I'm going to use phrases like that because it builds rapport. If I'm talking to Pace, I'm not doing that. I'm quick and straight to the point because he doesn't have time, either do I.
Right.
Right? But how do I know which line to use? It goes back to understanding people, right? And if you can pick most of this stuff up in the first 5 seconds, and if you miss it, you can course correct in the
What
next
is it?
10.
Tone?
It's tone and pace usually. Tone and pace are the first two indicators that
Not
I use.
pace, but like pace.
Not pace, the
Yeah.
other pace,
Yeah.
pacing.
Yeah.
And then you have to understand that sometimes it's situational. Their tone or their pace may be reflective of their trying to get their kids in the car and they're late for work, right? But usually within the first 30 seconds, you'll clarify most of that. And you'll know where you need to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what we should do is we should challenge you. Let's see, we got a couple minutes until we're done here, but we should challenge you in the next, I'd say 3-4 weeks to come back and go, what are the profiles that Kihana would write out?
Okay.
Right? Let's challenge you to put pen to paper.
Okay.
Identify these. And let's do a whole wholesale hotline about personality types that you see in the daily dial, the nightly dial, and
Sure.
in your real estate business.
I'd love to.
Anybody want to see that?
Love it. Yes.
Fascinating. You know what's
It's the live applause.
the live
Yeah.
applause.
It's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
soft
It's very
applause.
nice.
I think the people out there in digital land don't think we really have a live
Yeah, I don't
audience.
think so.
Matt,
Well,
can,
they did
Matt, can you
the
give them a
camera.
little taste of the team out here? Matt, oh
hold
damn!
on.
I made Matt
taking
move.
a
He's
nap.
got to put his pants on now. There we go.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
So great.
Oh, so great.
Yeah, come back and break that down. That would be phenomenal.
You know, it'd be great if you broke that down during Jamil gave you 30 minutes of his time on stage at the.
We're giving away stage time. Mike Mahoney right now is like this. Fucking Pace. We've got this. Or he's the.
I know
There's
Boots
gonna be
Boots
18
Mahoney.
speakers
Dude.
by the time Pace is done for your event, bro.
You know, here's another
I
thing
love it.
about identifying things. Right as we wrap up, if you get that skill, right? I did this thing at Bigger Pockets Con. I don't know, 5 or 6 months ago when that happened, and I stood there and I said, form a line, and just by looking at you, I can tell you where you grew up, whether you came from a married or a broken household, how many siblings you have, and what your number one hobby or favorite color is.
Yep.
And people are going through, and I had people getting out of line that were like 4 or 5 people down, and I was like, hey, why are you getting out of line? They go,
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody expose people so quickly. I don't want to be exposed.
Yeah.
But then the people that stayed in line were like, oh my gosh, I want to be understood. I'm looking forward to being understood. And then those people go, oh, yeah, you're right. And they jump back in line.
Yeah.
Your sellers want to be understood.
Yep.
And there's a satisfaction when somebody calls and actually pays attention to what the heck they're going through.
Yeah.
It is a breath of fresh air.
It's not just, here's the thing. This is what I think is important. This is something that's not just inherent to business, but it's innate to humanity. We want to be understood as people. We need that. And most of us have just accepted what version of it we get. Like that's enough. But who says it's enough, right? Who says that, the diet that we have is enough, right? Some people are in great shape, some people aren't. We accept what's given to us far too much, right? Jasper, who's on my team, we were doing a meeting with a bunch of the lead managers. There was like 6 of us, 6 of them that were on the call. And I did this just to give them an example of how doable it was. And it was funny because Jasper, right, is a very analytical guy, super smart kid, just a good dude.
He's who they named Jasper.ai after.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. That's the perfect description. And so as I'm talking to him, I used him and another person because I looked at them and you could tell that they were different, right? And I said, I bet your experience is this and you probably had this life. And, women are probably a bigger influence in your life, which has probably pulled you away from this. And then with you, Jasper, I bet this, that. Jasper said I was doing voodoo,
Yeah.
right? He was like,
Yeah.
wait, what was this? He said, I don't know what voodoo you just did, right? And what I explained to him was that paying attention isn't mysterious. It's just uncommon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to get everybody to do is just to pay closer attention. And then to the example that we gave a couple of minutes ago, what I said in the boot camp is that we need to get better at defining things, right? A lot of us go through life with these monsters in our rooms and the lights are off and we're scared.
Meaning your fears.
Our fears.
Yeah.
Or the things that hold us back. or the excuses that we tell us, and all of these different things. And what happens is we will let that monster live in the corner of our room, refining us just right to our bed for years, living a life we don't want. But then somebody comes in and turns the light on and you realize it wasn't a monster, it's just a coat hanger, right? And being able to accurately define things is extremely important. And so for me, if we don't look at it as mysterious, but just be intentional about how we pay attention and then learn how to give names to the things that we're seeing now that we're paying attention, we're now much more in control of our lives. We're not victims to circumstance, but we're taking authority and creating the life that we want. This is the goal here.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy as that.
Easy as that.
No, but I mean, listen.
Listen, the only thing people need to listen to is that they need to come to
Yes.
Wholesale.
To the event. What's the website?
Yeah, turn the light on. Growth Summit 2023. Growth Summit 2023.
I'm gonna
Be
buy.
there.
I'm gonna buy Growth Summit 2024. So next year you have to pay me $1,000 to get the domain name.
I like it. Do it.
No, I'll just do like Pace's free seminar.
That's it. That's it.
Will be next year's.
IceCreamSocial.com.
I'll get that one filled up.
Ice Cream Social. Do
That's
you
it.
think somebody has that?
Maybe not. They should get it if they don't.
Growth Summit.
Growth Summit 2023. Growth Summit 2023. Get there, check it out. It will sell out at some point. I mean, it's already sold out. We opened it up, so it's going to be really exciting.
I'm
Thank you.
excited, Paul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Wrap us
Awesome.
up, brother.
That's it. That's it. Daniel, absolutely incredible.
Appreciate it,
I
man.
loved it. We're going to see you back here in
Great
a few
job.
weeks. Everybody,
Live audience.
And that's it, guys. If you're not already subscribed to each one of our YouTube channels, make sure that you subscribe, and we'll see you next week.